Yesterday I was having a conversation with a brother. He is a youth. So he was telling me about this chat GPT, and he was telling me that, if you want to write an application, you can just tell, just instruct that I want an application about this, and that software will give you that application. So I said, but I can write an application myself. So I said, but you can use the software. So I said, but you should always use softwares and other stuff or any technology for things you can't do. If you start using them for things you can do, then you will become very irrelevant slowly. And you don't want to become irrelevant, because you see that the law says if you don't use it, you lose it. And every soul has spiritual, mental, physical, every kind of capacity. And we shouldn't do away with these capacities. And because we do away with these capacities are ultimately lost. So why I'm telling this is, you see, Baba has come, and now Baba is reminding us that you are a creative force. We souls are creators. Yes, and Baba tells us that you are anyways creating, because you're the only creative force in this world. Prakriti or nature is not the creator. It is the recipient. Yes, but we are the creators. And right now we are unconsciously creating Kali Yuga, because we souls are not taking charge of our mind and intellect. So we are not taking the ownership of our mind and intellect. So anyways, we are creative energy, so we are using our mind and intellect unconsciously or under influence of this old impure world. And then we are creating a state of further and more intense impurity. And Baba is every day asking us to take charge of our mind and buddhi. And you see that Baba says that consciously remember me. And remembrance is a faculty of the buddhi. And we are always remembering, right? It's not that we are not remembering when we are not remembering Baba. We are always remembering someone, something. But what is the quality of our remembrance? If the quality of my remembrance is I'm remembering something lustful, something violent, something sorrowful, something, some disappointments, some hurt, then even that remembrance is coloring me. And Baba is asking us to take charge of our spiritual capacity of remembrance and thought. So Baba says, think consciously, remember consciously. Because anyways we are doing that, and in doing that we are creating a world of sorrow, a world of violence, a world of hatred, a world of violence of both the kinds, violence of lust and violence of anger, because that's what we are consuming and that's what we are remembering. So we are creating that world, although it is unconscious, but we are doing that anyway. So it is very important to understand that I, the soul, am a creative energy. I am the master creator, and I need to take charge of my mind and intellect to decide and choose what I want to create and have choice about the fact that I'm not creating the opposite of it. So I was just thinking today, you see, that all through the day, what are we doing? You see, in India right now, there's a case about the molestation of a doctor in Kolkata, and you see that soul, that person who is the accused. So there is a lot of violent and disturbing content found on his phone, and he used to watch that stuff. And if you look at it, you see, we are becoming what we see. So nobody is born like that. But if you don't choose what you see, what you hear, what you think, what you remember, then knowingly or unknowingly you are becoming that which you never intended to become. Yes, so it's very important to have, to do everything consciously. And I think, if you summarize spirituality in one word, it's basically conscious living. So when you live consciously, you eat consciously, you listen consciously, you see consciously, you discern and decide what you want to see, hear, listen, eat, who you want to interact with, what you want to remember, what you want to think. All these aspects of your physical and spiritual existence, when you just do everything consciously, that is basically a life of spirituality. And when you don't do it consciously, then what happens is, whether you do it consciously or not doesn't matter, because everything that you're doing is having an influence on the quality of you, the soul, and your future actions and your future destiny. So it's very important that we started doing everything consciously. So I was just today, in the Murli, Baba is telling us that remember me, remember your home, and remember the cycle of 84 births. So just remember how you were in your home, how you were in Satyug. Then Baba says from the Copper Age, how you are worshipped like a deity in temples. And then how you become a Brahmin, you become the right hand of Baba in this confluence age. And then from here, how you change into an angel. So Baba says, remember, keep remembering these things. Now the thing is, you see that the soul sees through the buddhi, and you become what you see. Yes, and it is these two eyes today cannot afford to see something pure, because the whole world is impure right now. Whatever you see, even if you think about, somebody molesting somebody, what is the image? It's again a violent action. So even if you think that you're thinking about somebody's sorrow, you are taking sorrow in that moment when you are thinking about somebody's sorrow. So Baba says, whatever is happening in the world, whether you feel compassionate about it, whether you feel sorry about it, whether you feel disgust about it, all of these feelings are negative. Yes, even if you feel disgusted while seeing something, still that scene is not having a positive impact on you. So Baba says it's very important that you understand that the eye of the soul is the buddhi, and the soul needs to unplug its man and buddhi from this old world, and we need to consciously remember our sweet home, the world of peace, or our Father, the ocean of peace, and the new world, that is a world of happiness and peace. So Baba says, do that consciously. Now in this whole subject, there is also the topic of laziness. Because you see, when I gave you that example of the chat GPT, the thing is, we are very lazy right now. And all this outsourcing and all this dependence on technology and all kinds of dependence, the way business and commerce is thriving is all because of laziness. And laziness is an aspect of lust. Do you know that? So Baba tells us that there are the family of vices. So every vice has progenies. So just like complaint, irritation, criticism, they are, or jealousy, they are the progenies of anger. Similarly, the progeny of lust is laziness. And when we become, so the first vice is lust, and the sign of that lust is that pretty much everywhere there is a lot of laziness. And whether it is about this hesitation to pull yourself up physically and show up for some hard work, that kind of laziness is also there. But again, the spiritual laziness, the laziness of the mind and intellect, that's a very big one. Because you see, when we engage in vices for 63 births, there is the spiritual laziness that creeps in. And you see that when I am telling you that there is laziness of the mind and intellect, what does that mean? You see, these days, when you want to think about something consciously, you have a certain, this pull from Maya to not do that. Yes, and Baba tells us that engage your mind in churning the points of knowledge. But do you do that? Yes, so this is an aspect of spiritual laziness. And every BK has some time or the other tried thinking about Baba's Murli or tried churning points of Baba's Murli. And whenever you have done that, you have realized that you are able to come up with very good insights, and you're able to come up with very good realizations when you do that. But why can't you pull yourself up to do that? because there is this spiritual laziness, which is an aspect of our engagement with vices for 63 births. And we like passive thinking, somebody is just giving some thought to you, you're watching something, hearing something. Are you not thinking while doing that? You're thinking. But that is unconscious, and you don't have to put in a lot of effort to do that. It's just coming, and you are a passive receiver. So we tend to like that more because of this laziness of the mind and intellect. But you see, people who are lazy, they can't really have a good life because you see, you just think about somebody who is so lazy they can't cook their own food. Then anybody, whatever they serve you, whether it's stale, rotten, whatever they give you, and you eat it. So then so you don't have a choice when you're lazy. So similarly, you see, these days people are thinking about whatever is served to them. Yes, and I remember there was this one brother, and he is in college, and he was watching a lot of violent content on the phone, and I asked him, do you really like this? Do you like watching this? Because his mother was complaining about it, and he was watching these fights and some stuff like that, and his mother was complaining about that, and his mother was saying his nature is turning very violent. So I asked him, do you enjoy watching this? So he said, I don't know whether I enjoy, but this is what is the most popular these days. And he told me that all my friends are watching it, so you see that people are just consuming whatever is served because you are not willing to put in that kind of effort to consume spiritually what is the right diet for you. So if all the negative is, you see, you pick up the newspaper, it's full of negative things, you watch something, you hear something, it's all based on lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. And then you are feeding yourself with all of that because you're so lazy that you're not willing to create those thoughts for yourself. And we have Baba with us, and Baba is giving us a whole literature every day. Yes, Baba is giving us the Murli, and the Murli is pure thought. Yes, the Murli comes from the ocean of purity, and it's full of pure elevated thoughts. But you have to recollect the Murli, you have to think about the Murli, and you have to think about the Murli so deeply that it generates a stream of elevated thoughts. But if you are lazy and not willing to do that for yourself, then what will your mind be occupied with? Definitely whatever is served to you. And then your mind, which is a creative force, is becoming an instrument of creating a further impure world. Yes, because whatever you're thinking is what you will put into action sooner or later. Because whatever you're thinking will become your sanskar, and that will manifest in your action. So Baba says that it's very important for us to think consciously, and it's very important for us to remember consciously. Because whatever you remember these days, whether it's about the past, the present, the future, anybody, anything, it is all, full of the vibration of negativity. So Baba says, pull unplug your intellect from this old world and take it to the ocean of peace, to the ocean of purity, to your pure state in the world of purity. Baba says you have to do that for yourself. And you see, the soul cannot distinguish between imagination and reality. Yes, and whatever the soul is thinking or whatever picture you are creating through the intellect. So, when you remember, what is remembrance? Remembrance is when you create an image of that which you are remembering. So, remembrance is about creating an image and feeling the feelings associated with that image. So, when you create that image of Baba with your buddhi, buddhi is a very creative, when earlier, at least we used to use our buddhi when we read novels and stories. Yes, so in novels and stories, you read something and then what did you do? You used your buddhi to create a picture of that and feel that. But nowadays we don't do that either. We are just seeing everything as it is. But Baba tells us that I am giving you the story about who you were and where you lived and how you lived in the earlier times and what was the world like and what was your body like and what were your relationships like, and just use your buddhi to create an image of all of that. And when you create an image of whatever Baba is reminding us in the Murli about, and you feel the feelings that come with that visualization or with that imagery. For example, today Baba tells that in Satyug, the womb is like a palace. Yes, and in Kali Yuga, the womb is like a jail. And just think about, when you think about this thing, then in Satyug, the soul is very happy in the womb. And in Kali Yuga, the soul is, do you understand that when the soul is in the body and you're body conscious, then you perform many actions that appear to be right because you're body conscious. Yes, so yeah, just think about, somebody killing for their sister's honor, right? So you thought that I'm a brother, it's my duty to kill somebody who sabotaged my sister's honor, and you think that was the right thing to do because you're body conscious. So in body consciousness, even killing can feel like the right thing to do. Yes, but then what happens is you keep, why do we engage in vicious actions? Because those vicious actions appear to be right actions to us. And why do they appear to be right actions? Because we are body conscious. We are caught up in this name and form and sense of relationship, and we are defining every right and wrong according to that. So whatever we are doing right now appears to be right to us. But once the soul leaves the body, then what happens? That body consciousness attached to this part that you're playing right now is lost. And then the soul can see that I committed these crimes and I committed this sin because I was body conscious. And then what happens is, in that state, the soul goes into another womb. And when it is in that womb, then there is a lot of repentance about what I did earlier, because the soul is now in an aware state. It is not body conscious because it has left the last body and it's still not attached to the new body. So right now the soul is pretty soul conscious. So then the soul repents and regrets what it did in the last birth. And if you want to understand this better, then there are these narratives that people have shared about near-death experiences. And when they share those narratives, they say that when I was out of the body and I could feel that, this body and whatever I was doing in this life is a separate, it's like my act and I am separate, then they could see the wrong that they did. And they could feel that whatever they did at that time and that made sense, it doesn't make sense now. Because now they are in a more soul conscious state. So you see that in the garbh, in the womb, the soul is suffering so much. And then you think about, now that we settle our karmic accounts through yoga power, and then when we go to Satyug and we are in the womb in Satyug, that in that womb the soul is happy. The soul is not feeling any regret, any sense of guilt, nothing. And so when you churn on these things, it brings a smile to your face that I'll go to a world where I will not be born crying, I would not die crying. So do you understand? So in this old world, when somebody is born and when the child is born and he doesn't cry, then the doctor has to slap the child so that he cries. Because if the child is not crying, that's abnormal. But in Satyug, you don't cry when you're born. You don't cry in the womb. And you don't cry when you leave the body, because when you leave the body, you already know that you're going to enter a smaller, better body, younger body. So you are very happy to leave the body and take a younger body. And when you think about these things, it makes you feel so much, it makes you feel very different from what you feel when you remember the things of the old world. And also, our visualization is our preview to the future. So you are not only feeling the happiness of Satyug, but you're also creating Satyug. Just like you see, when somebody is watching violent stuff, what are they becoming? They are becoming violent and creating a world of violence. So when we are thinking about the new world and our activities and our attitudes and our behaviors, and we are thinking about the quality of nature of the new world, then we are creating our sanskars of purity also, and we are giving our attention and energy, creative energy, to the creation of the new world. So Baba says it is time you unplugged your mind and intellect from empowering the old world to creating the new world and a new version of you. And you see that when we remember Baba and I see myself as Baba's child, then what am I doing? I'm emerging the original pure sanskars in me. So Baba says, spend your time and energy in doing this. Don't keep investing your spiritual energy in creating a bigger Kali-yug, because consciously or unconsciously, and you see it's so unconscious that people are not even aware of what they are becoming. Because you see, anybody who is, and I'll tell you one thing, there is this one brother, and today Baba gives the example of criminal drishti. Yes, and this brother, he told me that I have criminal drishti, and when I move on the streets, I have criminal drishti for, people. And then I told him that you have to work on yourself. You have to try seeing that I'm a soul and this is a soul, and not see the body. And then he said that, no, but you see, I have criminal drishti, but I have never engaged in any act out of that criminal drishti. And I'm telling this episode happened 9 or 10 years ago. And I told him, it is not a spiritual law that you will not put into action what you think. Whatever you are thinking today will be put into action tomorrow. And never fool yourself telling that I'm only thinking, I'm not doing it. So you have to work on your sanskars, your drishti, otherwise you will put it into action someday. And some months back, somebody told me he was not in touch and he was not coming to the center or anything. And then some days back, somebody told me that he actually did something which has brought a lot of shame to him. And you see, this is why it's very important that you watch how you're using your mind and intellect. Because if we are not listening to Baba's guidance, and if we are not training our mind to think about the matters of spirituality, thinking about the soul and thinking about, and just sometimes, I have this little exercise where I sit and think about what is this body actually. Yes, just think about this 0.0001 millimeter of skin, and what is beneath it. What is beneath it? If somebody's skin were removed, can you even look at that person? Yes, and what are we looking at? Just that 0.001 millimeter of skin. Is that what's so attractive? Yes, so when you just think about these things, that what is the body actually? And what are you attracted to so much? Yes, and it's just a bag of bones and blood and flesh, and what is so attractive about the body that you have to look at somebody's body and be attracted towards it, or your own body and be attracted towards it? So Baba says that you have to churn on these things. Baba says that everybody is a soul, and it is the soul that matters. It is the soul that's doing everything through the body. And when you start thinking about these things, that actually good or bad, whatever action somebody is doing, it's just the soul enacting through the body. Otherwise, what is the body? The body is just, piece of matter that, and when somebody dies, until they live, you can't live without them. But once they die, you cannot live in the same room as them. Can you? You say, just take them away. Yes, because, and that same person scares you. So then what is it that you are having a relationship with, and what are you so attracted to? So when you remember Baba, when you use your mind thinking about points of knowledge, then this helps you build your spiritual strength. And when you just become lazy and while away your thoughts and time, and not think about, not remember Baba or not remember the new world. And so in that moment, what you're actually doing is you are depleting yourself by thinking about the old world and things of the old world, and you're creating a further depleted state of the old world by investing your attention and energy in the old world. So it's very important to understand the importance of Baba's Shrimat when Baba says, remember me, remember the sweet home, remember the new world. Because sometimes we don't understand why Baba is emphasizing so much on remembrance. Because remembrance is a faculty of the soul, and the soul is always remembering. But what matters is, what are you remembering and what are you reinforcing by remembering? Okay, Om Shanti.